So some of the things I'm going to go over are I'm going to have 10 talking points. I want this to be an interactive meeting. So if you guys want to ask me questions, just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask me. Don't be shy, or you can ask me in the chat if you have any questions. I have the chat open. So the first thing I want to discuss is prioritizing time management. Having 4 kids, multiple homes, I run Airbnb as well as a side business. I have an office and I have a team. Time management is key. Um, I wouldn't be able to do everything I do if I hadn't mastered time management. I'm currently in the Keys, but I've been here since Wednesday. I celebrated 4th of July with my family, and then I'm headed back today. I have a listing appointment. So just time management. Um, you know, it helps balance work and life. I use lots of different tools. Um, I use mainly my calendar on my phone. Um, and then I have time tracking apps where I use for time blocking. So I have very specific, I have a 1-year-old. So I have a nanny now that helps me. And during the day when she's with me, I get the most out of very small time blocks because I don't have all day like I used to when I didn't have a baby. Um, and that really, really helps. Time blocking is key. I also started setting boundaries. Before, when I had just got into real estate, I would work 24 hours a day. I was literally on call at all times. And now I set boundaries mainly for my kids and my husband. Um, Once you get to a certain stage in real estate, you get a lot of referral business. And once you start getting the referral business, you can start prioritizing time management. You can start prioritizing, well, you should do time management from the beginning, but you should start setting boundaries. For the girls on my team, what I try to do is I try to get them to set those boundaries from the beginning. Um, in the Keys, the realtors here only work until 5 o'clock. I don't suggest that for Miami, but here, that's just how it is. The realtors work 9 to 5, and very rarely do they work weekends. Miami's a different beast. We're a little faster pace. There's also a lot more realtors that actually work. So I wouldn't suggest such a restrictive time schedule in Miami, but I do suggest setting boundaries for your schedule because it's very easy to get burnt out in this industry because you want to do as much as you can. You're like, okay, I need to do it. I need to do it in order to, pay my bills. And sometimes we end up spinning our wheels. We don't take the break that we need, and then we end up burning out quicker. So a huge tip is set boundaries. Determine what schedule works for your family and try to stick to it as best as you can. Obviously, you have to be flexible. There's going to be that client that can only look at homes Mondays at 9 o'clock, in the evening. I mean, it happens, right? Or Sunday in the morning when you had church with your family, or so you have to be flexible. And like I say, life on life's terms, but it's 80/20. So if you can stick to the schedule 80% of the time, you're doing great. Um, the other big thing that I do is I delegate and I collaborate. When agents start in the industry, and even later, it's just a mindset shift. I collaborate and I delegate as much as I can. Yes, in a sense, I lose a little bit of the commission because I'm sharing commission. But if you look at the bigger picture, I'm able to be present for my family. I'm able to I actually end up working more deals because I'm sharing more, right? So I end up getting a little bit of more transactions versus only working that one deal that I have all my energy on, right? My team is a testament to this. I share as much as I can. I buy them leads, we share leads, I mean, we collaborate as much as we can. I also use certain apps. For example, I'll go on our WhatsApp chat if I'm not available. So since Wednesday, I've been here and I've still had my clients looking at homes. Um, Business hasn't stopped. So there's an app called Showami where if for whatever reason you post on the WhatsApp chat for lifestyle and an agent doesn't respond that they can do your showing, there's an app called Showami that allows you to pay an agent to do a showing for you. It can range from like $40 to $100, and they can do pretty much everything. And it's a licensed agent. You can speak to them before. If you get a bad feeling from them, you can cancel them and schedule somebody else. But that app Showami is amazing. It allows me to delegate. It allows me to be in multiple places at a time when my team can't be there or I can't find a lifestyle agent that can be there. So Showami is great. Okay, 4. I focus on self-care. So self-care doesn't have to be like hair, nails, skin, facials. Self-care is more like mental health, physical, eating healthy, getting enough sleep, mindfulness practices. So different, not so much just aesthetic, but working on the mind. And so I just started getting into working out again. Like I mentioned, I have a 1-year-old, so it's been a little bit difficult. But again, that focusing on self-care is how I also delegate. So during I, I have people that help me, right? I I don't have time to cook sometimes, so I have a meal plan and I have somebody that comes over and helps me clean the house, and it's just delegating. For me, time is money. So I rather spend the little bit of time that I do have on making money and making sure that that my team is making money, and then that other stuff delegating. And I feel like I'm helping them make money because the cleaning lady needs jobs. So then, she's cleaning my house, I'm helping her. And so it's just a mindset shift that didn't happen until later on. So, I mean, obviously when I started, I couldn't afford a lot of these things, but I kept working, and that was my goal. My goal was to have time freedom. And right now, that's my ultimate goal, is complete time freedom. Number 5, leverage technology. So this is one of the hardest things for me. I'm not techie whatsoever. I am like I'm not techie whatsoever, but I make it happen. So I hired a virtual assistant through George, and she helps me run Canva and not Canva, I'm sorry, Instagram. So she helps us run Instagram. She creates our posts. She does our newsletters. She does a lot of the back office stuff, and that helps. Also using systems like ChatGPT and Canva and Upwork, and I mean Fiverr. There's so many different apps that you can use that help you. Since I'm not techie, I can usually find somebody outside of this country that I can hire for very cheap that can do those techie things for me, and that really helps me move forward, right? I don't allow it to limit me. Number 6, continuously learning. This is huge, guys. So our board, aside from the enormous amount of trainings that Lifestyle offers on a weekly basis, the board, our real estate board, offers great trainings, usually run by an attorney. 9 times out of 10, they're free. And it's endless amounts of resource. Guys, if you want to stay in the industry for a long period of time, you have to be the best at what you do. You have to surround yourself with professionals. You have to you have to be the best. And the only way you're going to get there is by practicing, by collaborating, and by learning. So the board is a great tool um to help you stay, competitive in this industry. Number 7, plan for long term. So when I got into this industry, my goals changed, right? As I've been progressively going. Um, when I started, I wanted to be a top producer. I wanted to, own a house. I wanted to basic things. And then as I went achieving those goals, I started changing the things that I wanted, my goals. I started, I can't think of the word. I started evolving. That's the word I was thinking. So did my goals. So the main thing that I've always done is plan for my future. I plan long term. I do long-term goals like 10 years out, and then I break them down to 5 years, to 1 year, and then yearly. And that has really helped me achieve a lot of success throughout the years because I've been able to stay focused. Number 8, maintain a support network. This is huge for me. I have a very supportive network inside and outside of lifestyle. A lot of industry professionals, and it's not just about work. I have mentors. I have a life coach. I just have a big support system, and that helps me keep my mind clear, keeps my goals intact. If I'm messing up, I have a support system that tells me, hey, you're messing up, you're doing the wrong thing. Hey, you're veering, what's going on? And then with that, I go into number 9, which is regular reflecting and adjustments. So life on life's terms, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of times you go through life, you have plans, and then things kind of shift. So you have to just reflect and readjust and kind of pivot to what life throws at you. And then just focus on quality over quantity, and that in every sense, quality time with your family versus quantity. You don't have to be with your kids 100% of the time to be a good parent. You just have to be, when you're with them, you have to be 100% focused and give them your undivided attention. 9 times out of 10, that is enough. The same thing with your clients, with your work. Just be focused. It's not so much the amount of time, but the quality of time that you put into it. It's really easy to get distracted, and because social media and looking to the side to see what are they doing and why am I not doing this, and it's easy to get imposter syndrome. But just stay focused. Like this industry, your clients end up finding you. It's almost like they'll flock to you. You just have to be clear on what it is that you want, what your purpose is in the industry. Do not make this about money. Make it about the relationship that you build with the client, and you'll get far in life. My motto in this business is do the next right thing. And as long as you continue doing the next right thing, you're going to get ahead. Does anybody have any questions about all the stuff I just spoke about?
Hey, good morning. Thank you so much. I think my question would be like, other than the apps that you mentioned, is there anything else that you could think of that could possibly help with managing like time and maybe delegating something that we just haven't thought of? Because yeah, mom of 3 as well.
Oh, awesome. So, so being a mom, I get it. It's hard. I delegate as much as I can. Showami is great. Um, Getting a team of girls or people that you connect with that can help you is huge. Um, because you're able to, bounce things off of them, or they can do showings for you, or you can do showings for them. It's just collaborating. That's huge. What other things? And then when you get the chance to, like once you're able to, is delegate as much as you can. So like, because we have so limited time, I would say as soon as you possibly can, hire somebody to clean your house and hire a virtual assistant. Sometimes virtual assistants are really not that expensive. Like you can get a part-time virtual assistant for a couple $100s a month. Um, and I know some of us, that's a lot, but that can potentially make you a lot of money. So sometimes you just have to kind of, at the beginning, is save as much as you can so that you can propel forward. The other thing is, like Tally mentioned on the chat, get a CRM. Huge, huge. I did not get a CRM until later on in the industry, like later on that I have been working. Like I mentioned, I'm not techie, I'm not organized. So it was one of those things that I couldn't do it. And I regret it so much because you end up missing. So one of the statistics is that like 9 realtors never follow up with their lead, with the leads that they connect. And like a lot of times those people, you already work with them, they know how you work. So it's like following up is the easiest thing, and it's what we don't do because we get so stuck in our head, like, okay, we got to get the next one. I already did this one. Let me look for the next one. Let me look for the next one. One of the chats is one of the questions is, what CRM do I use? I'm currently using Follow Up Boss. It's working great. Other girls are on it, and we're finally, it took us a while. It took us like a year, but other girls are finally like making it happen. Okay, so Dana's asking, what are some networks or groups you're part of outside of lifestyle? So I am a board member of an orphanage called Children's Alliance of Florida, child care, orphan care, I'm sorry. And I'm very big on giving back to the community. I feel like in this industry, we are so blessed. We're able to, make so much that I want to give back. It's I feel like it's my calling. I came from very humble beginnings. I was very, very poor growing up. So I don't want other children to go through that. And if I can do whatever I can to give back, I want to. And that's really what I do. Aside from orphan care, I'm also in a ton of groups on Facebook. That's another way that I've also been able to get leads, guys. Great option for you guys. You're able to connect with these people on different things that you like. So for example, I'm part of a mom group because I just had a 1-year-old. I have kids in all ages, 24, 17, 14, and 1. So in that mom group, I'm able to connect with other moms with kids, in all age ranges. And that's also helped my business as well. Okay, so I see Sergio Palmero has his hands up.
Hey Jen, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Jen, question for you. So, obviously when we're all starting, right? And you probably remember those stages, we kind of took everything that came our way. We said, we're hungry, let's eat, right? So if you had to think back when you first started, right, to find that balance from the rip, or maybe it didn't exist, what would you do differently?
The CRM would be one. I didn't do that until I kid you not, maybe 2 years ago, I didn't have a CRM, and I'm 10 years in, which is embarrassing. Um, I would also get better at like vetting the client. So when I first got into the industry, rentals were like $700. And I was living in the hammocks, and I would drive to like Broward to do a $700 rental, which is, I look back now and I'm like, how crazy. Um, but I was hungry, like you mentioned, right? And I wasted a lot of time because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just like, okay, they want a rental, let's go. So I would spend more time vetting the client. I would do a buyer consultation. I would do a yeah, I would sit with the client before going to show them. I know sometimes that's not possible, especially if you're purchasing leads, you have to create that connection right away. But that's something that I would do at the beginning. I would really learn what it is that would qualify the client for the rental, for the sale, for whatever it is, and then focus on that. I wish I would have done that at the beginning because I probably wouldn't have wasted so much time. And then the CRM is key. The CRM is, if you guys can, we even have on the board, on the app, on the dashboard, we have a free CRM that is offered to us. Guys, use it. Like, use the free CRM if you can't, afford a purchase CRM, but use something. Use an Excel spreadsheet. Like, track your clients, track when they close. That's going to help you get ahead immensely, I promise. Okay, Rick the realtor. Rick the realtor, I see you have your hand up. I'm gonna unmute you.
Yes,
Oh, you're muted again.
I said I'm sorry, I don't have a question.
Oh, okay. I saw your hand was up. Does anybody else have any questions?
Jen, I'll ask you another. You
Yeah.
mentioned that you currently have a VA or when you first got your VA, you had one used for social media, right?
Yeah.
What else would you use your VAs for
So
currently? And how did you
the,
get yours, if you don't mind sharing?
the goal, I actually Alicia, which is on my team, she actually helped me get the VA. So what I'm currently using her for is social media. The goal, the long-term goal for her, assuming everything works out, is that I have her do the transaction coordinating course and she becomes my transaction coordinator for my deals. She's not there yet. I don't feel comfortable. I'm a little bit of a control freak, so I'm scared to allow her that much freedom, or that much, power over my transactions. So the goal right now for me is to train her and then eventually, um, have her do transaction coordinating, have her do more of the back office stuff. But right now we're just not there. Sorry. Does anybody else have any questions?
I have
Sergio,
a
did
question.
that answer? Yes.
Hi. So
Hi.
so you have, your kids are smaller? How old are your kids?
I have a 24-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
So do you incorporate and like talk to them about what you do and like, like how do you incorporate them in what you do?
So when they were smaller, like my 14-year-old was smaller, he would come with me to showings. I would have him open lock boxes. He was very involved. I would have them do, when I would go door knock, he would come with me. He would do door hangers. I mean, he was very involved. My daughter, who's 17, she's hosted open houses. A lot of people at Lifestyle in the back office know her because she's hosted a lot of the events. She would come to the events with me. She would come to the office with me. We were just very involved. So yes, I involve them in the industry. I involve them in, what it is that I do. My daughter now is going to college to become a real estate attorney. She found a passion in the industry. And yeah, as far as the baby goes, I don't take him anywhere. He's crazy. So he stays home. But yeah, I mean, I involve your family as much as you can. They're your biggest support system and they want to see you win. So include them. And it's also nice, like when you're going through the neighborhood that you're farming and they see that you're a mom, or, they see your kids doing it. It kind of gives people like a soft heart, so it helps get you more deals.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi,
Does
Jen.
anybody?
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I have a question and something to say. I'm actually on Jen's team. And for anyone here who's new, my recommendation is also get a mentor because that's
Yeah.
what I did when I started and I got Jen. So thank you, Jen. I love you. All right, if I could add one thing to that, it's get a mentor. Like now I can be a mentor to someone. So I tell all my mentees, and Jen told us, like, learn from the things that we already made a mistake on. Don't ram your head into the wall. If I've already done it 5 or 6 times and I could save you the trouble. So be coachable. Being coachable is very, very important in real estate. For some reason, people believe that this is just easy and there's a very low barrier of entry into our profession because we're all here professionals, right? And almost anybody can get a real estate license. So just because it's easy to get in doesn't mean it's easy to be successful. And people do not like add that together. So get someone that can teach you, even if you have to, share your commission. 50% of something is better than 0. And not just that, but our mistakes can be very costly. We're handling someone's biggest investment ever in their life. Have been a nurse for 13 years. And I always tell people, like, when I worked in surgery, no one ever came in and said, I have to get my appendix taken out. I think I'm just going to do it myself. You go to the professional. So you need to make yourself and present yourself as the professional, as the expert, as the person who's going to take them to the end. And the best way to do that is by getting a mentor, right? You do not, exactly, Dana, you do not have to make the mistake to learn, but a lot of people wait for something to blow up before they learn from it. When you could learn from one of us, Jen, Dana, myself, someone who's already doing it, and you will have a better outcome at the end. So I'm very grateful for the fact that I had Jen very early on, because not only is she now my best friend on the planet, but she taught me a lot of things that I needed to learn, and haven't had any grave mistakes or errors. You're gonna make mistakes. That's perfectly fine. But there's a difference in having somebody you can bounce ideas off of and questions and comments and concerns. So 1000% get a mentor. And I'm out.
Yes,
Hi, I have a question.
yes.
Hi, just based on what you said, as a nurse, what do you recommend for somebody that's starting that still has a full-time job? And there's some flexibility, as like being a nurse and stuff like that, working at night shift. What do you recommend?
Wait, is
Of
that question for
getting
me or for
yourself-
Jennifer?
Actually, for both, just for both. What do you recommend
Tally,
if
you
starting out
answer
having
first.
a full-time job?
Okay, so for me, a lot of the things that Jen mentioned were very key. But at first, I literally hustled to the point of exhaustion. So I would work at, I wasn't just a nurse, I was the director of nursing for an entire surgical center, and I had a staff of 120 people below me. But I didn't want to do that anymore. So I found a very big passion in doing this, and it was in the middle of COVID. So I would work until the end of work, and then I would start real estate work, and I would work until my eyes would close with my laptop on me. I am not recommending for you to do that because you do need to set boundaries. And even though in the beginning it's the moment to get people to waste your time, because you have to learn through doing things, right? Experience, like doing things. But what would happen is, at least for me in my case, because obviously we're all going to have this journey a little bit differently, but for me, I noticed that it would be like, okay, nursing was where I was making the most money, and then as I was getting better at real estate, I was able to do a little bit of less nursing, a little bit of less nursing, and a little bit more real estate, a little bit more real estate. But like, you can be a part-time agent, but you can't be an undercover agent. Every single person knew I utilized social media to the tits. Okay, so every single time, and I say this in all of my personal trainings, every time I go to a showing, I take a video of where I'm at. I let people know loud and proud. I talk to the person who's waiting on my table at Chili's. Like, hey, are you from here? Bye, baby. Hey, are you from here? Oh, great. Yeah, I'm a realtor in the area. Like, I talk to every single person, and I made sure that everyone knew what I was doing, so that eventually I was being fed substantially more by real estate. And it got to the point that I was like, okay, you have to stop doing this. I was still finding a way to have like nursing opportunities. I started teaching, I started supervising, and then I'm like, I can't, because my business didn't really truly explode, even though I was doing very well, until I started to let things go. But you have to, at one point, in my opinion, you have to just be very committed to it. You can't be like, oh, I'm tired, so I'm going to take the weekend off because I'm off from my nursing job. Because I still worked Saturday and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. when I wasn't at my nursing job. I was working my real estate job. There was no opportunity for that. But eventually it got to the point where it was less and less nursing, more and more real estate. And now I'm on my couch right now in my pajamas with wet hair, because I no longer have a nursing job. I am a full-time agent. So I think it's just about deciding. A lot of people are motivated but not dedicated. So people jump into this and they're like, I'm gonna do all of these things, and they have like this huge fire under their ass. But it's about longevity, right? That's what this entire training is about. It's about staying in real estate, not just getting into real estate. And anybody can become a realtor on paper, but you got to become a realtor in your heart. You have to commit that this is what you're going to do, and stay consistent, stay dedicated, not just motivated for, like I call like all the fatties like me that go to the gym on Monday mornings, like I did today. I probably won't be there on Wednesdays. So it's like, I'm not losing weight because I'm not dedicated enough. I get really motivated Monday morning, but it's about, what are you going to do Friday when everybody else is having a cocktail? Are you going to be doing that, or are you going to be showing a house? So the best thing you could do is just keep pushing. When everybody else is tired and everybody else is sleeping, you are working. That's me. Everybody has their own way. I didn't want to be part-time. I wanted to do this full-time. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's my soapbox.
Thank you.
You're welcome, my dear.
Tally, great points. And it's very true. You have to, push as hard as you can, especially at the beginning. It's about balancing. You want to balance, but at the beginning, it's that line is a very thin, where, what balances, you have to kind of make it happen. And I remember Tally not wanting to let go of the nursing, and she would be teaching and she would be showing, and it was like very, very, it was very difficult for her to let it go. And then once she let it go, she finally propelled forward. And that's a lot of times that's what happens. You know, it's letting go of that for sure to go to the unknown. But sometimes you just have to risk it, you know, and it's strategic. You have to make sure that you have savings, make sure that I call it controlled chaos. As long as you know you have a little bit of cushion, just risk it. Because as long as you work hard, you're gonna make it happen. There's somebody named iPhone with their hands up, but I don't know who their name is. Who they
Sorry,
are.
I don't know why my thing came up as iPhone. I'm
Oh.
gonna assume that it's me. It's Liz. I have two different questions. So I just got like, because I need what I call fast cash in my pocket. I got a job I just got a new job where I'm supposed to do like marketing to like, as a real estate event coming up, for like 90 days, like there's 90 days before it happens. And then you guys were saying like flexibility. So like, how would you like approach where it's like a lot of real estate, like people are coming, to the event, and then how do you like balance between like telling everybody that, hey, I'm also a real estate agent versus I need to sell these tickets for as my part-time job. And then also, I was trying to buy a fourplex inside of Ohio, and I'm still trying to find like a private money lender. But while I was doing that, someone else had said, hey, you know, maybe you shouldn't do private lending. I will buy the house. I'll buy the fourplex. Just give me like more information. So how would you approach it where it's like, I'm not licensed in Ohio, but
Okay, so
Oh.
one question at a time. So the first question, when it pertains to your job, right, or this gig that you received, so I just want to understand, your job is to sell tickets, but the guests will be realtors.
the guests will be real estate investors, private and hard money lenders, real
So your
estate agents.
question is, where do you find these people, or how do you promote yourself?
Well, I'm gonna have a CRM given to me about all these people that I'm supposed to contact to see if they're gonna buy the tickets.
Okay.
So like, how do I know that I'm not while I'm trying to like, how do I balance the two?
So time management, right? The goal is to, like Tali mentioned, for everybody to know that you're a realtor. So if you're going to be around investors, you know, casually in the conversation, bring up the fact that you're a realtor, or, you know, not so much as like, hey, I'm a realtor, but like maybe drop hints about, oh, you going to go do a showing, or you know, kind of like hints to obviously insinuate that you're a realtor. If you're looking to sell more tickets, I would use Facebook groups to, you know, promote the event that you're speaking about. And then when it comes to the fourplex in Ohio, I would try to collaborate. I would first ask within your network of lifestyle if maybe somebody knows. I personally have heard of someone purchasing a property in Ohio. I'm not sure who that was, but maybe drop in our WhatsApp chat, like, does anybody have an agent in Ohio? And maybe collaborate with that agent that can help you. And then ask that agent if he has, you know, experience with a hard money lender, or, you know, just investor experience, and you might be able to kind of go through it that way. Another thing that I do is if nobody that I know knows a realtor in that area, I go on, you know, realtor.com or on Zillow.com, and I look for realtors that have a ton of reviews, and then I call them and I kind of interview them. and see if I want to collaborate with them. I also go on YouTube and do the same. I had a client relocate to the Villages. I wasn't familiar with that area and I didn't feel comfortable just, you know, taking the drive and just kind of, because he was very specific. So I collaborated. I went on YouTube. I found an agent that specializes in that area and I collaborated with that agent and we got the client in. So maybe you could do the same for Ohio. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so
Hi, I have a question. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to raise my hand on this thing.
no, it's fine.
You mentioned that you've been in the business 10 years and you have a 24-year-old, 17-year-old, and kudos to that because I always get my kids involved. If you didn't have the 1-year-old and your kids were grown and in college and you had nothing but free time and real estate was 100% what you did, what would you think that you would be doing?
So before I had my 1-year-old, I had no balance. I was working 24 hours a day. So what I would do with the knowledge that I have now, if I didn't have the baby, I would honestly just focus on my past business, the clients that I've already closed. Which is kind of what I'm doing now. I would make sure that I'm, you know, sending out newsletters. I'm sending them little gifts for their birthdays or for, you know, holidays, their house anniversary. I would be more strategic with my time, right? I would have more time, so I would be more strategic. Right now, I would also focus on building relationships with other realtors. Sally says I would sleep more. This is true. Since if I didn't have a 1-year-old, I would probably be sleeping longer than 8 hours, than 4 hours. But yeah, so I would focus on my past clients. If I didn't have past clients, if I was brand new, I would focus on building a community. So right now, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm farming the area where I live. And so I'm doing EDDMs, I'm sending out direct mailers, I'm door knocking. I became part of the event committee in my board. So I'm hosting some of the events. I'm planning a game night for my community for moms with their kids. I want to do a sensory class. So I would just get more involved with my community to build a network, right? Things that I was interested in. So if I didn't have a baby, I don't know, maybe I would do a walking club, or maybe I'm not sure. I really didn't have any hobbies before. I would just work. But I would find things that I was passionate about, and then I would try to build a community around it so I can, and then the business just kind of follows, right? I would purchase leads. First, I would get strategic, and I would make sure that I knew how to convert leads. Once I knew how to convert leads, then I would invest in leads, and then, you know, have a CRM to follow up with those leads to make sure that it's not just money wasted. And I think that that's what I would focus on.
Okay, thank you. That was a great answer. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Hi, yes, I have a question.
Yes.
So what are the realistic expectations to have for your mentor? Because the mentor, they're in the same position where, you know, they've got their own business that they're trying to run. Is there supposed to be like an action plan where, you know, there's some type of structure where you're shadowing them, or, you know, you have weekly meetings with them, or, you know, role playing? It's what's realistic, because I know that it's, you know, 50% of like your first 3 transactions or something like that, whatever the case may be. But when it comes to questions, we could post questions in the WhatsApp chat to get answers to, you know, basic questions. So what exactly is the true realistic expectations that we should have of mentors?
So I would say somebody that's available, right? I have 9 girls on my team, and I know for a fact that I wouldn't be able to to add any more because I wouldn't be able to give them any more. I wouldn't be able to give another person more time, right? Because I'm spread so thin. So maybe somebody that has the awareness of their schedule, right? Like you mentioned, like prior to having my baby, I was a little bit more mindful of like having weekly meetings with the girls as a team collectively. And that's just hasn't been the case. I haven't been able to be as effective or as effective as I was previously. So now what I do is I do a lot of one-on-ones. So maybe just finding somebody that like if you in a group setting, if that doesn't work for you, maybe finding somebody that can sit with you and kind of go over things with you. And it's very important. You should be able to shadow them. You should be able to collaborate with them. You know, if they have a listing appointment, they should be able to, you know, to take you, because the reality of it is that at the beginning, you're probably not going to have a listing appointment, right? You're probably not going to have a buyer consultation. I mean, you might, and you want to make sure that they're available, right? That they're there to answer questions. Or if they're not available, physically, like sometimes I can't be everywhere. So if I can't be there physically, I make sure that I make myself available. It does not matter what's going on. And, you know, I answer questions, whether it's at 11 o'clock at night and one of the girls is filling out a contract and she's not sure how to do it. I make myself available as much as I can. So you want to get somebody that kind of, it sounds like funny to say, but it kind of speaks your love language, right? In a sense, because if you're a visual learner, they need to be able to teach you that way, right? They need to be able to be flexible with you and how you learn. So, I mean, Lifestyle has a checklist on what it is that you know, Lifestyle has a checklist on like what the mentor should be doing for you at a minimum. So if you do hire a mentor, then make sure that at minimum they're meeting those, you know, those checkpoints, right? Those requirements. And if not, then, you know, then send a message to us, let us know, and we'll help you. We'll help transition you to another mentor that maybe can help you in other ways. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. So Tammy asks, what are some ways to find a mentor for you? So Lifestyle has a mentorship program, which Lifestyle has a mentorship program, which is great. And I would definitely start there. I would also, like I mentioned, get clear on what it is that you need from a mentor, what it is that you want to learn, figure out what your niche is. So for example, you know, I like to do a certain type of transaction. I like to work a certain type of buyer. I know what I go after. So try and do the same. I know at the beginning you're like, whatever comes my way, whatever transaction I'm going to work. But the clearer you get, the easier it is to kind of move forward in the business, even though you're going to get, you know, the trickle of different type of buyers, a commercial deal here and there, whatever. But then that's when you want to collaborate with other agents, because you can't be a master of everything. That's just not realistic. Are we all good? Does anybody have any questions?
Hey, so I wanted just to thank you so much, Jennifer. I wanted to add something that you said, like for the person that said, like, what do you do with your kids? Because I do the same. I bring them everywhere with me. But I also do like family meetings with them, like even to like how the week is gonna be. So like when you want to incorporate your kids, I just bring them on board and be like, listen, this week I have a crazy amount of work. So don't expect 4 meals this week. Expect that we're gonna figure something out. Expect that it might be, you know, pasta all week or in those things. So I think especially when I started, my son was really 1 and now my kids are just used to it. Just let them know, because their kids aren't going to know what to expect, especially when you're starting in this business and they don't understand what it means. Like, what do you mean you're going to be gone all day? What do you mean? Like, so the more you explain it to them and make them aware to it, it becomes easier. Like my son now, you know, he clocks me. He's like, so how many showings? So when are you going to be back? So what is this? Okay, so no dinner today. So what are you? So I think the more you guys are, you know, especially as women, like the more you're open to your kids and be like, listen, I'm not going to be able to see you most likely this week, but Sunday I got you. Sunday we're going to go out and get ice cream. We're going to whatever it is. I think the only way that I've been able to make it is that my kids have been so supportive and telling them that yes, this week's going to be hard. No, I'm not going to be able to make it to that game, but yes, I'll go to the next one. So I think that'll be especially for those that are starting with your family, the more you tell them, and the boundaries the same thing, because mine would just, oh, well, you're not at the office, so I'm just going to call you all day because you're just there. And it's like, no. Pretend I'm in an office. You can't bother me 9 to 5. You got, or something to that extent. And the more you set those expectations, I think it just relieves a lot of stress on you, because then you don't feel as guilty because you're not there. And also just your family kind of begins to understand what it is that you're doing.
I agree. That was a great tip. And that's, I mean, I definitely try to live by that as well. Just try and keep them involved. It also helps you create a relationship with them, and it might even foster a love for real estate, you know? And so that's awesome. Does anybody else have any questions? Such a great meeting.
Hello, hi. I had 2 questions.
Yes.
One, how do we go about following up on that mentorship program? And I'll just let you answer that one, and I'll ask the second one.
So I believe that Yaritza is the person that's in charge of that. I will drop her email on the chat right now. You can email her and let her know that you're interested in getting a mentor, and then she would be able to direct you or guide you, you know, where to go, like who to speak with, I mean.
Thank you. Second question, I wanted to know if you had any experience making relationships with people like lawyers, local lawyers, who may be working in specific fields, like, to gain more leads, like such as construction lawyers or divorce lawyers. And if you do have experience with that, or you have any advice on how to develop relationships with those types of people, how would you go about doing that?
So I personally have not gone after attorney like, you know, relationship. I mean, I guess I have when it pertains to like a title company. And I literally just called a meeting and I said, let's sit down. How can we collaborate? I know that there's a specific agent at our brokerage that's, I believe he's a partner as well, or a manager. He focuses on divorce. So he has a lot of relationships with divorce attorneys, and he goes to their functions and their their meetings and different organizations and stuff. And that's how he's been able to target a lot of divorce buyers and sellers. I can put you in contact with him. I don't have a lot of experience in that, unfortunately. That's just not what I need, chat.
Thank you.
No, no problem. If you can drop me a message, like a private message on the chat, I'll do a group chat with that partner that I'm talking about. See if maybe he can help you.
Will do. Thank you.
Dana asked me for the contact for the orphanage. Dana, I will send you, I'll put it on the chat. Her name is Nicole. She actually runs it. They don't have like an actual link. But I'll put you in contact with her and you can reach out to her. She's a super sweet girl. I think we're all set, guys. If anybody has any questions, you guys are welcome to send me a message. I'm going to put my phone number on the chat. And make sure to add me on Instagram. It's Jen Buski _ and I will put my number. It was a pleasure speaking with all of you, and I hope you guys all have an amazing day and great week.